Thank you for the introduction. So I thought I'd start by just giving a quick overview of who Inte Q is. For those of you that are attending, may have heard of us, may not have heard of us. So I thought I'd give a quick introduction into Inte Q. And I promise this won't be a long sales pitch, but just a quick overview. So who is Inte Q? We're kind of three things: CRM strategists, loyalty architects, and customer love creators. And we really think customer love is key to loyalty. If you think about the best brands in the world, Apple, Disney, they have customers that are tremendously loyal to them, will defend them and love them as brands. And we think that's our job with our clients, is to create love for our clients' brands. We do three things. We create loyalty programs, so traditional points-based, cashback loyalty programs, manage those full service, strategy, operations, all aspects of loyalty programs. We also help clients set up CRM initiatives. So for brands that maybe aren't ready for a loyalty program, or their P&L doesn't support a loyalty program, we'll work with brands to help mine and manage customers more effectively. And then third, we create value add programs, and these are really paid for loyalty programs where the customer pays to be part of a loyalty program that helps monetize and fund their loyalty initiatives. And we'll talk more about that later in the presentation. We work mostly with retail, financial services, and a little bit of healthcare, and this is our 20th year in business. So now on to why you joined the webinar today. So Inte Q recently published a 2018 loyalty guide, which this presentation will be based on today. And we're going to go through some of the strategies we outline in the guide to get more out of your loyalty program. Hopefully you'll leave today's event with ideas on how to leverage data that your program is providing. We also hope that you'll find ways to engage customers to increase brand loyalty. And finally, how your loyalty program can inform and improve your marketing. And we think there's big opportunity to utilize data, to utilize the information your customers are providing to really help improve you as a marketer or a marketing organization. Throughout the deck, we've tried to provide a lot of examples, thought starters. So there's a lot of different pieces hopefully you can take away from this, take back to your clients, your company, to your team, and be more successful with your loyalty initiatives. So the theme of the guide was really getting more value out of your loyalty program. And I think, most brands, a lot of brands view their loyalty program as a simple promotional tool. However, Inte Q views them as a lot more than that. We feel loyalty programs are really a way to engage customers, grow your business, open up new opportunities, and really make smarter decisions with your assets and your most valuable assets as a company. So let's jump in. The first topic I'm going to go through is about thinking beyond products and purchases. And when you think about products and purchases, the best brands think beyond the transactional aspect of loyalty. They really go beyond transactions and points and the transactional nature of the business. We've got a picture there of two happy girls at Disney, and that's a brand that really thinks about the emotional connection they have with their customers, and much more about the experience they create for their customers, well beyond the brand. So some questions and things to think about. What emotional effect is your brand having on the consumer, or is it? And if it's not, how can you create that connection? Does your brand create a sense of social identity? And if not, how can you? Brands like Disney think about these things. They think about loyalty with their customers and how to affect the emotional connection they have with their customers. And the importance behind this is really brands can't really only communicate with their customers. They really need to connect, and that's an important aspect of loyalty in 2018. So why is this important? Well, it's important because 70% of buying is really based on how customers feel. And that's not really a big surprise. Most people make decisions emotionally, justify them logically. So emotion plays a big part in buying decisions and how your customers choose on where to buy. But brands must, create a way to connect with their customers and create an experience that they enjoy to be successful. So one example we pulled forward, we wanted to provide, it does a great job of this, is Vans. So I think everyone's familiar with the brand Vans. They're a brand we do not work with, but wanted to show them as a brand that does a great job connecting and moving well beyond the transaction. And you know, they really use social content to create an identity around lifestyle and not just the product. If you see the images we pulled here, you know, there's a specific brand element that they're trying to create and a lifestyle imagery they're trying to create to really create some connectedness with their customers. And they really stay close to their roots and create loyalty not by using a points program, but by understanding and engaging with their customers. As our example shows, you know, not everything has to be points or cash back. You know, creating brand experiences will help engage customers, retain them, keep them happy. And brands are starting to take notice of this. You know, 50% of organizations will implement efforts to improve customer experience. So a lot of companies are heading in this direction, and I think rightfully so, as the experience will play a much larger role and an important role in loyalty moving forward. So some thought starters and things to think about as you think about moving beyond just products and purchases and the transactional element of loyalty. Engagement is highly correlated to loyalty, and to engage customers, you really need to connect. Connect to who your customers are, what they're passionate about, what they love. To do this, brands are reaching well beyond traditional points-based programs. This helps with brand affinity and engage their customers with experiences that keep coming back. And these can be experiences that are short-term, short-lived, or long-term experiences. And then finally, you know, don't get caught in the trap of developing loyalty program strategies that are just narrowly focused on products or what your customers buy and how often. That's an easy way to launch a loyalty program and an easy type of program to stand up. But long-term, that's not going to create the true loyalty that brands are looking for. It's got to be about more than just transactions, products, purchases, and points. The second topic is really viewing loyalty as a two-way street, and we think this is a really important aspect of loyalty moving forward here in 2018. You know, most retailers and brands develop programs so their customers are loyal to them. You know, but the question we like to ask our clients is, what are you really doing to be loyal to them as customers? And if you think about your organizations, you know, who wears the customer hat in your organization? Who speaks for the customer when you talk about customer initiatives or your business? That's an important aspect of loyalty and how you're serving the customer correctly. There's a lot of simple answers to this. Great customer service is one of them. And if anybody's had bad customer service experiences with brands, you know, there's a lot of opportunity for this. But another aspect is really making sure you recognize your customers as individuals beyond just a collective customer base. When customers feel valued in a very personal way, the experience shifts their perception, and they can become advocates for your brand. And we're going to talk some more about personalization here shortly, but recognizing them as an individual is a really important part of creating loyalty in the coming year. So, you know, we think this is really important, and it's a miss for a lot of brands. You know, how do we know? I think these stats kind of explain the story here on the screen. So 73% of consumers say loyalty programs should be a way for brands to show how loyal they are to them. But when you ask marketing executives, 66% say the program should be a way for consumers to show how loyal they are to their business. So there's some conflict there, right? You know, marketing executives want to, you know, to drive the business and want their customers to buy more, which is important. But long term, it's not going to create true loyalty if it's just about how much are you going to buy from me. That'll determine what I give you. So let's explore this a little bit further and looking at loyalty as a two-way street. You know, I mentioned customer service and you know, in terms of aligning expectations and bringing these two expectations in more alignment, you know, customer service is a great way to start. There's some great brands out there who do this well, Nordstrom, Zappos, famous for that type of service. And that's an easy way to start. You know, another way is recognizing as individuals, as I mentioned, not just a general customer base. And I think, you know, when customers feel valued in a very personal way, the experience can shift perception. They become a promoter of your brand, and they take notice of that. That can be the difference between making a decision of going to a retailer that's close to their house or one down the street or further down the street. And then finally, creating custom promotions and experiences for your top customers. And, these types of experiences can be done relatively easy digitally. If you think about things like sneak peeks, early access, even allowing customers to become part of a beta group or panel or product testers, that's a great way for them to feel like part of your brand, to feel like part of the company, and to feel special as a loyal customer. So we're going to move into the personalization. I talked a little bit about personalization and making customers feel great, about your brand and feel special and feel like you're talking to them one-to-one. And a lot of companies are working on personalization, and a lot of brands know a lot about their customers to do personalization. However, their marketing doesn't always match that knowledge, and many brands don't really speak to their customers in a meaningful way to create that loyalty. And I think a big part of being relevant is not only providing the right content, but providing the right context. And I'll talk a little bit more about context, but that's probably the most important aspect of being relevant to customers. So, marketers are focused on hyper-personalization, are kind of leaving kind of broad-based communication and really trying to work on marketing that reaches a myriad of customers and different groups of customers in different ways. And this is starting to become the expectation. A lot of digital brands have created that expectation. Amazon, which I'll probably talk a lot more about today, has set that expectation pretty high. And why is that important? Because it's really what people want. They want authentic experiences that they can relate to, and something that means something to them. But this idea of hyper-personalization is what we believe can take this relevancy to a whole new level. So on the next page, we've kind of outlined what we mean by hyper-personalization, and we're starting to talk to some of our clients about this and the difference between just personalizing and hyper-personalizing, which we call kind of the personalization plus. So, on the left side, you've got personalization, things like name. You can put a name in an email. You can put, previous purchases, or here's what you've bought before, things like that. Or even things like, hey, are you a coupon user, and stuff like that. But what we think is more relevant is the stuff on the right side, and it's things like browsing behavior and real-time data to be able to change messages. And an example I would give here is, how many of you, have gone online, looked for some products, and then went to a store and purchased something, but then you see banner ads 2 and 3 and 4 weeks later for that same product, right? So not only is that not relevant, it's really a waste of money for the brand because you've already made that purchase. And so utilizing some of that data, that online, offline data, to change messages is really a good way to become more relevant. Another way is personal interests. So things like photography, yoga, social causes. These are all things that can be gleaned from your customers and used in your marketing to become much more relevant, much more personal with your customers and in your communication. And then further personal data. Does the mom have kids? How old are the kids? What are the age, or what are the boy, girl of the kids? That's an important aspect of how to personalize and take personalization to a whole new level when you're looking at your marketing. And your loyalty program can really help with that and drive more loyalty by personalizing your communications. So one example we wanted to pull forward, it's kind of a unique one, is Spotify. And Spotify, each week, every Monday, they have what's called their Discover Weekly feature, which basically puts together 30 songs that are specific to your listening behavior and songs that you like. And it puts it together automatically every Monday. And what we like about this, and what we like about this example, is it's really hyper-personalized down to an individual user. So if you think about it, they're creating a unique playlist for every single customer based on their specific behaviors. And while an algorithm's obviously doing that, it really makes the listener feel special. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to create anything. It just happens automatically from them. And the users of Spotify really feel like they're doing this specifically for them, which makes this feel all the more relevant and all the more successful. So some additional ways to win with loyalty and use loyalty to make this more successful. We talked a little bit about the banner ad concept of showing products that people have already bought. This is one way to win with loyalty and be more successful. Bringing that data together, your first party offline data combined with web browsing data, and create offers and communications in real time, and make sure it's extremely relevant. The second piece is segmenting customers on individual preferences, likes, dislikes, browsing data, or previous purchase history. Not treating all customers as one, but really looking at different groups, small groups that you can really drive communication to. And finally, thinking about using personalized rewards. So if you do have a rewards program, using that Spotify example as guidance, creating a unique reward for every single customer is a great way to make people feel personalized, unique, special, and you can do this at a global level or even specific segments or individual level. So some great ways to really create hyper-personalization and make your customers feel much more special, relevant, and impact the business more. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about mobile, and I think everyone knows how important mobile is. It's important to every business, and the importance of this is going to continue to grow in 2018 and beyond. With the reliance on mobile comes elevated expectations, speed, personalization, all of those things come with it. And ensuring your mobile offer is working well is not really an option, but a necessity. And as proof, we provided some stats here. And in 2020, is the year mobile advertising will overtake total TV spend. So if you think about that, all the TV ads you see, all the things around Super Bowls and big events, mobile advertising is going to overtake all of that in spend in just a couple of years. So really quick, really short term. Additionally, 84% of the consumers say they consult their phones on purchases they're about to make in store. So, really impactful how the phone and the mobile device is impacting not only, on advertising, but also on purchase decisions, whether they're looking at price checking or additional features or things like that. It's an important part of the shopping journey, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And so, winning with mobile is really important. Loyalty makes it a little bit easier, and we'll give some examples of that, of how you can really win with mobile and use some different techniques to make your loyalty program more successful. So the first concept is gamification, and gamification's a trendy term and a buzzword you hear a lot. But it can also be very effective if used correctly. It's not a tremendously new idea. A lot of people have used gamification in kind of old school, kind of offline ways of things like punch cards. But new concepts with mobile devices, mobile apps have really taken this to a new level. Things like goal setting, recognition, badges, developing competition with other members. Are all ways people are using mobile devices to really help take gamification to a more effective level. So the example we pulled forward here is a company called Untapped, and this is a networking app that brings beer enthusiasts together, and it allows them to share reviews. It allows them to talk about new products, general information on beer. It also uses badges to reward longtime user for certain achievements and milestones. So, if you're doing a lot of activity and things like that, you can maybe earn badges for best reviewer or most reviewer, that type of stuff. And, you can reward, they can reward users through a special discount code, and you can redeem it right from the app. So this is a great way to bring a fun experience to a product people are really enthusiastic and passionate about, together in a simple to use, gamified, fun application. Another concept is location-based marketing, and location-based marketing is another one that is getting a lot more traction, and brands are getting a lot smarter about location-based marketing, and it's a great way to reward your customers with the most personalized experience and within the right context of where they're at. Kind of what's more personal, right, than serving up content based on where a customer is. And so the example we wanted to use here was Starbucks, and quite honestly, we could use Starbucks for a lot of the examples in presentation today, but we tried to limit it to just one. But Starbucks has done a great job with their location-based marketing. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have used Starbucks or participate in Starbucks program. It's got over 20 million active participants in the program. They've done a great job driving adoption and utilizing it for a lot of different things. But they really do a great job with location around specific menu items and services. And they also do a great job driving communication when you're near a store and ensuring they're as relevant as possible, and doing things like delivery or order ahead and things like that. It's a really easy functional use application, and they've really embraced mobile in an effective way and tied it in with their loyalty program. The third concept is all around mobile payments, and again, I mentioned Starbucks. We could have used Starbucks for this because they do a great job with mobile payments in their mobile app, but we pulled forward a company called Sweetgreen, and this is a kind of a quick serve fast food restaurant that's there's some locations here in Chicago and in the Chicagoland area, and really they've leveraged mobile payments with their loyalty program to really drive loyalty. And mobile payments is a really fragmented, fractured market, but it's also going to be a really large market. So you can see the stat, it's going to be $500 billion by year 2020, and more companies are adopting this, and technology is getting easier and easier to use. But what we liked about the idea around Sweetgreen is, that they really use the mobile payment as a way to drive loyalty. So, they allow people to earn free food, in this case, salad. However, the customer must pay through Sweetgreen's mobile wallet to earn those rewards. So you've got to use their app, you've got to use their payment mechanism to earn the rewards, and it's a great way to tie in mobile payments to what their customers are doing and reward them for doing it. So we thought this was a great example of how to use mobile payments with loyalty. So we covered a couple of topics there, and so what should you know about these concepts, and how can you use them for your business or for your clients? I think a couple of things we wanted to call out is, one, keep it simple. Customers want easy experiences. They aren't hard to figure out, and don't try to tackle everything at once. I think that's a mistake a lot of brands make. They try and do everything, and they make these experiences pretty complex, complicated to use, and then adoption gets harder and harder. The second thing is, give users what they want. So if you've got clients or you work for a brand, pick one concept or function that your customers really like or really like to use, and really focus on that, and develop mobile functionality around that can make that easier, simple, and more accessible to use for your clients. We pulled another example here, Dunkin' Donuts, and I think they do a great job of keeping it simple, right? Spend money, earn points, get free coffee. It's as simple as that. Okay. So shifting a little bit, going to move to omni-channel experiences and embracing omni-channel experiences. Every brand you come in contact with really operates in an omni-channel world, and this is because the ways consumers are connecting today, it's almost impossible not to be, right? So if you think about channel to channel, device to device, online to offline, this is all happening with a lot of regularity with today's customers. Connected devices are becoming bigger and bigger. So the way consumers connect with brands is going to be even more complex and more accessible. The data backs that up. So consumers obviously using their phone in store more often. We talked about that earlier. 71% here of shoppers say in-store research on smartphones has become an important part of the shopping experience. So maybe not even to buy, but just as a part of the overall experience, it's a big part of how consumers want to engage in store. And 65% of consumers use their mobile device to find coupons online. So not necessarily transacting right there or transacting on the mobile device, but using those devices to really facilitate a transaction either at a store or on a different device. So why is this important? You know, the biggest reason is that omnichannel customers are simply more valuable. So our internal data here at Inte Q shows they're the omnichannel customers are 5 to 8 times more valuable than a single channel shopper, right? So it's exponentially more valuable, that customer that engages on those multiple channels, and making those channels easy to navigate and use, is really important. And loyalty programs are central to that. You know, creating a great omnichannel experience, loyalty programs are foundational. It can connect disparate experiences, provides brands, an avenue to effectively manage customer relationships across those channels and experiences. If you think about a digital environment, a call center environment, a retail environment, loyalty programs are a way to connect all those and make it more seamless for the customer. It also provides the foundation you need to collect customer data. So it's a lot of brands, especially retail brands, don't have a way to collect the data. This is a great way to collect all that data and use it to facilitate the customer experience. And it also provides brands the way to create VIP level service, personalized promotions, and so much more. So the example we wanted to show here is Marriott Rewards. Again, not a client of ours, but someone who does a great job bringing physical, digital, online, offline touch points together using their loyalty program and using mobile technology. Many of you are probably either a member of Marriott or similar hotel type rewards programs. And, you know, we at Inte Q think, you know, hospitality has done a great job with creating this omnichannel experience and bridging these different gaps with the different customer touch points. So what Marriott's done is really used a mobile app that provides a lot of different, options for guests, right? You can check in, you can book a room, you can check out. You can even get your room key on your device, so you don't even have to go to the front desk. Your room key's there, and you can go right to your room and get into your room. They've also enabled a really high level of service, allowing you to order room service. If you're poolside and you want to send room service to the pool, you can do that. You can even make special requests before you arrive. And so, you know, done a great job bringing all this together, but the best part about it is they know everything about you, right? They know if you're on vacation, if you're there for a business trip, what level or status you are. You know, it's really a fantastic example of a brand that's embraced being omnichannel, utilizing the rewards program to do it, and leveraging great technology to make it easy for the customer. So how do you move forward on omnichannel? And you know, this is an interesting one because omnichannel can be so overwhelming to brands. And I think that, you know, the first thing is important to think about stages and phases. You know, going and being successful in omnichannel doesn't have to happen all at once. These great experiences were certainly thought about holistically together all at once, but they weren't built overnight, right? So if you think about that, think about this holistically, but then break it down into stages. Break it down into simple things that can be done quickly, and, you know, execute those, do it in a really effective, easy way, and then move on to the next experience to bridge the omnichannel gaps. The second thing is, you know, think about utilizing your loyalty program to differentiate and improve your experience. Really look for functional opportunities in your business. You know, the service aspect of Marriott's a good one where, you know, they probably get calls all the time to do, hey, I need this or I need that, but they then took that and put it into their mobile experience to make it easier for the customer and probably easier for them to manage. And then, you know, use, you know, your loyal customer base as a way to add either levels of service or those functional resources and focus them on your best customers. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all. If there are things that are just too expensive for your business, you know, focus them on a certain segment or a certain group of customers to make it successful. You also get a chance to work out some of the kinks and some of the issues you might have operationally before you extend it to your entire customer base. The next, we're going to talk about millennials. And, we're talking about millennials because we know this is such an important buying group. It's not everyone's target customer, but what would be an important group moving forward as they grow in buying power. And it's important to a lot of our clients, so we've chose to focus on this. I think you'll also see some things in here that you can, transfer to other customer segments that you as a brand or your clients might be able to use. What we want to highlight is that, if you're going after this group, you need to do more than traditional advertising. That's not the most effective way to engage millennials, and they want a brand that embodies who they are and what they really stand for. We got some stats here and kind of why this is important. 95% of millennials want brands to actively court them. I don't think that's a surprise. In fact, I think what's surprising is probably not 100%. I think all customers want brands to actively court them. But I think what's interesting is the second stat of 62% of millennials say that if a brand engages them on social networks, they're more likely to become a loyal customer. So if you're going after this segment and you're going after this customer, you better be engaging them on the platforms where they spend time, and social media is an important aspect of that. And don't just expect to kind of show up there, but you really need to engage with them either in a conversation or in an interactive way. So let's share an example. I think everyone's probably familiar with Share a Coke. It was a pretty successful campaign. And the whole idea behind this was to connect with customers on a first name, really personal basis, right? And it was meant to go after that younger customer. It's been pretty successful, and I think what makes this example so interesting is that they haven't changed their product in a really long time. Some of you might remember, I think it was the 80s, and they tried to change their formula, but they haven't changed their product in a really long time, but they really brought some fun to their brand and made people take notice and look at the brand in a really different way. And I think that aspect of fun is a really important aspect to engage millennials. So, what can you take from this? Well, 60% of millennials say loyalty programs need to be fun. And so bringing that fun aspect like Coke did to their product, where people were seeking out names and seeking out their first names, is a fun way to bring an aspect of loyalty to their product that they don't even sell, right? They don't sell their product, but they brought an aspect of fun to it to engage customers and make them more loyal. So here's some thoughts on this of how you can engage millennials and make your program more fun. One, give them the attention that they want, right? Recognize them, recognize top point earners or top customers. Feature them. Feature some of your best customers on social media. They love to be recognized. They love to be featured in those different platforms. And then even reward them for watching a video, posting on Instagram, that sort of thing. It can be a great platform. Those platforms can be great ways to reward customers too. Second is surprise them. So that can be a great way to bring fun to a brand or fun to a program or a group of customers, including unexpected free samples, upgrade them, whether it's through tickets or seats or in the case of hotels, upgrade them to a different room, and then offer surprise rewards. Surprise them with unique different benefits that bring some fun to your program. And then third, exclusivity. Offer an exclusive event to your most loyal customers or a certain group of customers. That aspect of exclusivity they love. And you can even do things like letting customers try new products or be part of a new product group before everyone else gets to see them. Make them feel special, and then give them a way to share that experience back with the rest of your customers to make sure they're engaging with the rest of your customer base. So building on social media, let's talk a little bit about, kind of going beyond likes with your social data. It's a big trend we're seeing, and it's not just about likes, but it's really about leveraging, your first-party loyalty data, combining it with social media data to get a much better, bigger picture of your customer. 70% of companies are still not collecting data from social channels. I mean, most companies aren't collecting it. This doesn't mean they're not looking at likes or shares or tweets or things like that. Many companies are doing that. That's actually fairly straightforward and pretty easy. What brands aren't doing is understanding the conversation that is going on and how your customers or even your prospects feel about your brand. And we think that's an important aspect to drive from your social media data. So what does this really mean? It's really about understanding the conversational content of your brand and the sentiment of it, so you can take action. This type of understanding can be very helpful to your business, right? You can use this information to understand ROI in marketing campaigns, adjust your marketing strategy, develop product quality. If you have people talking about product on social media, you can adjust and react very, very quickly. You can improve customer service, and you can even, if you have a recall or things like that with products, you can address crisis management. But what really makes this impactful is you can do all these things to the right customer. So you can look at, hey, how are my most loyal or best customers thinking about this product? Or how are my best customers responding to the recall? It's not just about everybody on social media, but being able to look at across different customer segments and drill down to different customer groups. So how can you leverage social data to increase brand loyalty? Well, one is measuring brand sentiment, and do increases and decreases in brand sentiment on social media reflect sales? So by bringing some of this information together, you can really start looking at social data and understanding, does that actually influence sales, or is it just nice that people are talking about my brand? Also, what can you do to create positive brand sentiment? What are some of the levers that can be done to increase positive brand sentiment and therefore increase and impact sales positively? You can also monitor conversations online, get in front of negative, social media mentions, again, whether that's a crisis, whether that's, something that may have happened in a store or with a TV commercial or some of those things. Those are things you can get in front of and get in front of with the right customers. And then again, you can also use your social media platforms as a way to award points. We talked about that in a way to connect, especially with millennials, but it's also a great way to have all your customers or the right customers connect with your brand where they're spending a lot of time. Next, I'm going to shift to another topic around the shopping journey more generally. And, as I've talked about today, one of the most beneficial parts of a loyalty program is bringing together disparate data sources to provide insights for your business. The best example of this is using your loyalty program to understand your customer shopping journey. More and more customers are starting their research online. For some categories, it's over 90% that people start their shopping journey online and end up buying it in a store. And your loyalty program allows you to understand this by combining web analytics data, in-store transactional data, bringing that together, and really understanding, gaining a better understanding of how your customers started their journey, right? Did they start by clicking on a banner ad? Did they start by clicking on a paid search term? Did they watch a video and then go into a store and buy or convert at that point? So this is a really powerful way to utilize disparate data sources with your loyalty program and bring these different data sources together to really understand your marketing. My guess is most of the brands, and if you want, I'd love to see a show of hands of how many brands are using, their loyalty data to understand how customers start their online journey and end up purchasing in a store and looking at the total enterprise impact of digital marketing spend. My guess is it's very few, but if you want to show a group of hands, I'd love to see that. From there, you can take this a step further, by understanding what impact, again, digital media has on the store. In many cases, brands are underestimating, what things like paid search or your digital advertising does for your business by only counting online transactions, right? So, as an example, you may be running a digital campaign on a new product, and you may think, wow, our paid search or our banner advertising, doesn't really do anything for us. And that's because you might only be looking at online conversions, but in store, it might be driving a lot of purchases in store. And so, utilizing this data and combining web analytics, loyalty data can really help you understand the full shopping journey from start to finish and attribute sales appropriately so you don't make bad marketing decisions. As we started at the top, this is an area you can really understand and make smarter decisions about your marketing campaigns, your media spend, and one way to leverage the data that your loyalty program is providing. So how can you start with this? And I could say this topic alone could probably be 1 hour on its own. It's a really complex conversation in terms of linking all these different data sources, but it's a really important one as we try to become better and more effective marketers to really understand how the shopping journey works and where sales and conversions are really coming from. And so to be successful here, start by linking digital and in-store customer data. You should be able to do this now, either with email or some sort of customer ID to match on, and start with a single channel. It doesn't have to be, looking at everything at once, but maybe just start with your social media buys or just paid search as a place to start. You can really be effective by just looking at one channel, trying to understand that better, and then making adjustments based on what you're seeing. Properly attribute digital marketing efforts. So if you do see a lot of offline transactions happening, make sure you're adjusting how you're looking at your media spend, the ROI, the return on ad spend that you're getting from your different, especially digital media buys, and make sure you're properly attributing all sales, all enterprise sales to those. And then over time, optimize that ad spend and make better marketing decisions to maximize revenue and profitability. And I think this is one of those areas you can have an immediate, large-scale impact on your organization here, quickly, short-term. If there's things you're looking at to do short-term, this is one of those that can have an immediate short-term impact. And the final topic that I want to talk about today is really around a paid loyalty program. So, as an agency at Inte Q, we get asked all the time, I specifically get asked all the time, about what new trends we're seeing in loyalty. And I think, one of the biggest is paid loyalty. And I think, this has, of course, been made extremely popular by Amazon and Amazon Prime. But many other brands are taking advantage of this new opportunity in what's pretty much a mature field. There's a lot of loyalty programs out there. And we like to think this is a new trend in a mature field. And so, these are also, often called VIP or premium loyalty programs, and it's really designed to drive repeat purchases, but also provide brand building benefits positioned as members only and for members only. And so we've listed some other examples. More and more brands are starting to take these on and launch paid loyalty programs. There's, of course, Amazon, but there's others like Restoration Hardware that provides a lot of design services and adds, certainly has a promotional component. They give 25% off pricing, but they have a service component with some design services wrapped around that. So it's not just a discount, but it's also some brand-oriented services. There's also GameStop, Costco, which of course is a membership club that allows you into the store, and then even Bed Bath & Beyond that provides access to their discounts if you pay to be a part of the program. So this is something we're starting to see more and more of, and more brands launch to create loyalty with their customers. The other question we get, will this work? Many customers ask, will my customers really pay for a program? And so we've done extensive research for this, and it's looked across, we've done several separate studies. This is kind of a summary of a few, but it's looked across several different income bands and income ranges, as well as different customer types. And overwhelmingly, they say yes. Customers, will pay for this as long as you're giving them value and rewards that saves them money and that they feel are valuable. The other thing we've asked is, okay, so what would you pay for this as a program? We get a lot, around $5 a month, $60 a year is kind of the number one answer. We've had some as high as $10 a month or over $100 a year. It really depends on what benefits you're bringing and how much that program is going to save a customer. Kind of the last question we get is, do they work and why do they work? And, there's really three reasons. The first, it enables brands to focus their most valuable and usually expensive assets on the right customer. So if you think about there are benefits that you have as a brand or that your clients have, they can't afford to give it to all clients or all their customers. they can certainly extend it to the group of customers that raise their hand and say, yep, I'm willing to pay for it, or yep, I'm willing to pay to be a part of your brand. So that's one reason it really works well for brands. The other, it keeps brands in front of customers more frequently. You know, customers are going to engage more frequently, and if you give the right benefits that might extend beyond a physical store, it's going to keep that brand and those benefits in front of a customer more frequently. And then finally, kind of last, which can be the most impactful, is it can have a meaningful financial impact, and it can mean a lot to your bottom line. And you really only need about 10% of your customers to sign up for a program like this to have a really significant financial impact and meaningful impact to not only your top and bottom line. And of course, Inte Q can always help with this. So kind of lastly here on the paid loyalty aspect, you know, is a paid loyalty program right for your brand? So what we've tried to outline is just some questions that you can ask if you're a brand or if you work with brands that you can utilize to say, now here's some questions, is it right for us? And so the first is really, does your brand have benefits that are expensive and that really can't be given away? Again, if you want to give benefits but you can't afford to give it to everybody or just make it available to the general public, this is a great way to put a fence around those benefits and make sure that you're not giving them away for free. Secondly, are you looking for ways to treat, you know, a select group of customers really special? And if you are, and if you really want to elevate how you treat customers, you know, this is a great way to do that by offering a paid program that offers great benefits, elevated benefits, sometimes expensive, but that are exclusive to a select group. And then, are you looking for ways to monetize your customers for additional profits? And you know, this is another way that, you know, as brands and especially retailers are struggling to drive foot traffic into their stores, this is another way to help monetize those customers, but also help trying to get them to keep coming back. So, you know, I went fast through those 10 concepts. You can certainly look at our loyalty guide that goes into some more depth on some of those. But hopefully what you've taken away from the session today, and I want to leave a little time for some questions. I think there's been some that's been submitted. Hopefully what you've learned is the three things we set out to share on the webinar today, which was, you know, leveraging your data from your loyalty program, utilizing it new and different ways, whether that's acquiring different new customers like millennials or even customers that you want to go after strategically, really leveraging that data from your program, how to engage customers to increase brand loyalty, you know, with things like mobile and social media and some of those things, and then how your loyalty program can inform marketing decisions, the whole online, offline journey, utilizing that data in combination with other data sources to make smarter marketing decisions and make sure you're getting a true read on your marketing effectiveness and how your marketing is performing. So with that, we're going to go to some questions.
Thank you. We'll answer questions in just a moment. If you are logging off now due to time constraints, we just wanted to say thank you for joining us and be on the lookout for an email that includes a copy of the presentation slides today, and as well as a link to the recording of the webinar if you'd like to access that in the future. So we'll go ahead and answer a few questions that were submitted today. First, we have a question from Karen. She says, when it comes to a paid loyalty program, can you tell me what types of benefits seem to resonate the best with retail customers?
Yeah, sure. So I think, you know, in terms of benefits for a paid loyalty program, you know, certainly elevated levels of service are always good. Things like shipping, you know, whether it's a VIP customer service line that can go directly to a person quickly is always helpful, but it really depends on the brand. You know, we work with our brands. We're launching some paid loyalty programs, and we really try and work with our brands to develop benefits that are right for their customers. We truly try and get a true understanding of who their customers are and what benefits might work. Inte Q has, you know, the benefit of providing a lot of additional benefits that we can help augment programs with, things like travel services, travel discounts, dining discounts, things like that we can bring and help augment plans. But it really depends on who the customer is, and we really try and work with our clients and work with brands to make sure we develop programs that are a right fit.
Thank you for that. We also, our next question that came in is from Micah. He's looking to what type of response or pushback have you seen when it comes asking customers to pay for access to a loyalty program when there are already so many free programs out there they can join?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that part of that comes in the program design and making sure that there's enough value and enough benefit, and that's clearly articulated through the marketing of the program to ensure that it feels like enough of a benefit. I think one of the things that Amazon's done a great job is of making and continuing to add benefits to their Prime program, but making people feel like it's a no-brainer to be part of their program because there's so much value, whether that's the free shipping or the content that you get with it. And I think that's an important aspect of paid programs, is to really bring forward valuable benefits that the customer sees, and it's kind of a no-brainer to sign up for a program. So there's going to be some pushback, but again, this doesn't have to. You don't have to get a large number of your customers to join a program to really make a big impact on your business.
Okay, thank you for that. We also have a question. Our next question came from Todd. He's asking, do you have any recommendations for making sure that marketing content is aligned with the initiatives you've outlined today?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think the biggest challenge with that, and I mentioned this at the top, is a lot of brands look at loyalty programs as this marketing program or it's a promotional program, and it really needs to be an enterprise initiative. And to do that, you really do have to get alignment across your entire marketing, merchandising, product organization, and make sure content is aligning with what you're doing from a loyalty perspective, but also what you're doing from a product or sales perspective, and making sure that content is consistent, but also matches up with what you're trying to sell and who you're trying to sell it to is an important aspect of that. And that starts from the top down. You have to get your leaders at all levels, but also across your organization to buy in and supportive of the program. So hopefully that answered the question, Todd.
Okay, thank you. We have one more here from Scarlett. She's asking another paid loyalty question. Should loyalty programs be fee-based or free for all members? And in your opinion, what one results in higher customer engagement and return purchase behavior?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I would say, paid programs aren't for every brand. I don't think we'll try and say that as a company. I think it's an option for some brands. And so it really depends on the brand, and it really depends on the assets you have to bring to the table or what you're trying to achieve with your customers. We think it's a good fit for a lot of brands that are trying to monetize their customer relationships more effectively, or again, try and give benefits that might be very expensive to a select group of customers who are willing to pay for it. So it really depends. It's not right for every brand, but it is right for some. And then, on the second piece, we have data that shows once people sign up, and we'll have a case study coming out about this here shortly, that once people sign up for a paid program, they visit more frequently and they buy more. So it does, create that sense of stickiness that the brands are looking for, partly because consumers have made a decision, I'm going to pay for that program, and if they make an investment, they want to make sure they're getting the most out of it. And so we're going to have a case study and potentially a white paper coming out here in the coming weeks or a month or so, highlighting paid programs, so you can be on the lookout for that. And we'll make sure this group, we send it out to this group.
Okay, great. In just looking at the time, so we've been online about an hour now. We want to make sure we respect everyone's time. So we will go ahead and make sure we send out a follow-up email with a link to the recording and a copy of today's slides, and we will log off now. We want to say thank you for attending.